Hi heathens! Today's video I'm just going to play around with a few products, and as I go I'll determine what kind of look I'm going for, because the only thing I know for sure is that I want to play around with this Glam Light and Twilight. Why did I not realize before they were both light? Glam Light Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1 collab. This is the Edward palette. There we go. Just trying to get those transitions. One of my shades is broken, and I've been trying to repress it, and I don't know why, but for the life of me, it will not stay repressed, and it's the shade Mind Reader at the bottom, so it keeps getting all over my other shades, and all over the inside of the palette. Can you all see that? But I really want to play with the other shades, because some of these are just so nice, but it's such a deep palette, and I'm very intimidated by the entire bottom row, and Mind Reader is all up in all the other shades. So we're going to do the best we can with it, because I've really been wanting to play with some of those colors. So we're going to start with the eyes, as I usually do, and grab eye primer. This is the Alamar Cosmetics one that I usually use. Yes, there is shimmer all over my face. Yes, I have tried to get it off. Obviously, no, it did not come off easy. So, we are going to ignore the pre-existing shimmer. For some reason I feel like I put way less on this eye, even though it looked like way more originally. So very strange, but okay. And I think I am going to color in my brows, because I feel like this palette is very heavy, because it is darker colors. So I feel like I'm going to need to balance it out a little, but I want to use the palette first to make that determination. Alright, so I want to go in first with Lion, which is the, like, one of the only light shades in the palette. And I'm going to try to get Mind Reader off of it, so that, and this does have a mirror, it's just going to be awkward to hold and use that mirror, because it's got, like, trees and Edward on the mirror. But I'm going to be using this to set that powder. On both sides. Or, no, set the primer on both sides, not the powder. This is the powder. I guess my brain was thinking of setting powder, so it just came out with powder after set. Okay. As I figured, it is a very light shade, but you can still see it. It's very pretty. I'm going to switch brushes and go into... See, everything else is shimmery except for these deep ones. I guess I'm going to have to do it anyway. Alright, I'm going to tap very gently into Mind Reader, and I'm just going to go over on the side. Man, the kickback. This shade is very soft. And it could be because mine's already broken and repressed, but very dangerous shade to use. And I'm just going to put that pretty much all over, if I can. Looks like we're kind of sticking in one spot, so this is going to be a pat and then blend shade. I find sometimes that happens with darker shades, which is funny, with this one especially, because it's so soft in the palette, which does make me think it's because mine is broken, that initially it wouldn't have that amount of kickback or something, because normally when you have a shade that has kickback like that, it's one that blends out well, sometimes too well, and you have to like layer. And like this one, I'm having to layer, but for a completely different reason. So we're just going to go ahead and do both eyes. Hope this one turns out as good. I do like the shade a lot though. And somehow placing it and then trying to blend it is making it seem a little less intimidating to me, but it's making it look the teeniest bit patchy. So that's something to keep in mind if I use it again. Which I'm sure I will, unless I wind up having to scrape that whole shade out of the palette, which would be very unfortunate. But, you know, with it being broken, maybe what it comes down to. There's still more on this eye, so I'm going to dip in one more time and try to bring it a little bit up to match. And then I'm going to take what's left, if anything, and go under the eyes. Doesn't look like there was a whole lot. Okay. Now I'm going to repress that palette, or that shade, again, so it doesn't go everywhere. Okay. It's all over me. Okay. Now I want to take Renesmee, which is this gorgeous purple, and we're going to use that all over the eye. I am going to go ahead and use the mirror while I use this one because it's just being applied with my finger. So let's take the plastic off. And we're just going to hold please. Let me switch to my other mirror and see if I'm just not putting enough pressure because I'm holding that palette. Kinda. That shade's honestly just kind of lackluster, which is very, very unusual. Alright, I'm gonna try to use it with a brush and some setting spray, which normally for that kind of shade that wouldn't be my go-to, but considering how it's applying with a finger, which is not as powerful as I was expecting, I'm just going to take a flat brush, get the cat hair off it. We're just gonna, I'm taking the brush and like stamping it down into it, and I'm gonna spritz it. We'll see if that helps at all. A little. Like, as a whole, that shade's just not as sparkly as I was expecting it to be. Okay, wait. On this side, that seemed to do something a little bit more. So maybe I have to have the brush already wet. Let's try to stamp in again and go back to the other eye, huh? Okay, yeah, there we go. Okay. So, strangely, that shade works a lot better with a brush and setting spray, which is very unusual. For inner corner, I'm going to stick with this palette, and I think I want to tap into Diamond. So I'm just going to use my pinky and put the palette back down. Very lovely inner corner shade. Very nice pop. Okay, let me put on some mascara. I'm going to very gently put this palette behind me so it hopefully doesn't fall like those just did. We're going to move on to mascara. Oh, buddy. Can I make one video without something like that happening? Probably not. Ever. Just seems to be part of my MO is knocking stuff over. And I do have fallout from that dark shade down the side of my nose here. So I'm going to try to clean that up too. I need to invest in some more makeup wipes pretty expeditiously, actually. Because I am down to my last little bit in here, and I keep forgetting. I'm just going to take a fluffy brush and just try to... Okay. We are going to put a little bit of powder on the face, but I'm going to be just like setting the face with this and taking the little puff that comes with it just to cover some of my redness. Because this is like a mattifying setting powder, even though it's called Glow. And I feel like on its own just kind of calms the way the skin looks. But I don't like using the puff as much when I'm putting it over foundation because it winds up caking it up, except in very specific circumstances. If you watched my last Around the Clock Beauty video, I used it in that to help like blot while I reset the foundation and stuff. And I was very sweaty in that video. Very not that cute, but very realistic for me. Especially living here and it being summer. It's just a fact of life, unfortunately. When you live in the South, that you're probably going to sweat a lot once it hits May, but especially June. Like, we're next week hitting those 100 days probably, or so they claim. I am not surprised if we do. Where are my freckle pens? I've suddenly lost all of them. Hello. And I can't see, which doesn't help, but nothing that I'm grabbing is a freckle pen. Okay. Well, I was going to put some cute fake freckles on, but I guess I'm not, because I don't see any. However, I did refind this Morphe 2 brow gel, and it's in Auburn, so I am going to go ahead and put a little bit of that on. I'm losing a bit of the sunlight. There are heat advisories for today, tomorrow, and Monday. Today's Saturday. And we're supposed to be going somewhere tomorrow. So, we'll see how that goes. But I think the real feel is supposed to hit like 104. So we're definitely going to be very hot. Okay, with this look, I don't want to use the highlighter that was part of this collab. So I'm just going to reach over here and grab the Profusion Friendly Ghost Casper Fabulous Holographic Highlighter. This looks like it is the purpley tinted one. It does not have a mirror in it, so we're just going to grab a... I'm going to try it with my fan brush. Sometimes for more glittery highlighters this doesn't work, but I think this one might have enough base to still be fine. Yeah. Because it's not like overpowering. It's applying it lighter than a normal brush would, but I'm still getting the color and the glitter. Okay. I feel like I want to put on a little bit of blush. I don't know if it's going to work with the look, but the urge is hitting me. So, we're going to give it a shot, and I'm going to go in with this BH Vanilla Cream Truffle palette. I really want the other ones. I loved these. And I'm just going to take, I think this is a, yeah, Shania B brush. And I'm going to go in with the kind of orangey-ish shade. This smells so good. And we're just going to kiss that across the cheeks. Nothing too heavy or dark. Okay. Now, we're going to do lips. And I'm going to reach over here. I'm going to be going in with an oldie. Do not at me for how old this is if you recognize it. This is an old ColourPop lip. It's an ultra matte lip in the shade Chalk and Roll. It's a gray. No, they do not sell this shade anymore. But there are other gray lippies out there. Notably, I think it's called Stone Fox from NYX, is a really, really good one. I just already knew I wanted to use this, and it's a little older. Alright, let's give a spritz, and then we're going to do a close-up, and I know this is not a full face, but I did not feel like putting foundation on if I have to step outside at all today. Let me know what you think of this look. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed getting ready with me this morning. Subscribe to see more of my content, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.